You may be running Facebook ads or Google ads, and you're looking at your returns and you're celebrating your wins because you made $50,000 on a $30,000 ad spend. But what if I told you you're losing money because you're missing one hidden thing that no one's talking about? I'm going to show you exactly how you can look at the numbers and guarantee you're making money if you're running ads. And I'm going to teach you how to diagnose your business by the numbers in this Know Your Numbers episode. All right, take a look at this example here. Now, if you notice here, I have something labeled Facebook ads, right? Now on here, this example that I made, this company, and these are based on real numbers, this company so far has spent $10,000 on Facebook ads. Good news, they brought in $20,000 on that $10,000 they spent. So they doubled their money, right? Wrong. This example actually loses money. Let's take a look at the Google pay-per-click ad, okay? This company spent $15,000 and they made $19,000. So they made a couple $1,000s, right? Wrong. They lost several $1,000s. Why is this? And why is this important? Okay, let's take a look at this Facebook ad example. So the company spent $10,000. They made $20,000. Of course, it looks like they doubled their money, but you have to remember when you bring in money, you're not making all that money. There's materials in there. There's equipment in there. There's labor in there. As a matter of fact, if you're only making 20% net, in this example, this company did not double their money, but they lost $6,000. Get it? Let me go a little bit further. Let's say you're making 20% net profit on your jobs. When you calculate that you made $20,000 on your Facebook ads customers, 20% of that is what you made. So you made $4,000. And minus the amount of money you spent on the ads, which is $10,000, equals a loss of $6,000. Do you see why it's important to look at it like that? Now, some people might say, well, I make 30% on my ads. Now, some people might say, hey, I make 35% profit on my jobs. Let's take a look and see what 35% net profit does if you double your money on ads. All right, so I'm going to use my handy document here. If you are a member of our business consulting community, then you have this document. If you're not a member of the community, it's available in the description of this video. All right, let's take a look here. Okay, now in this example, if a company makes 35% net on all their jobs and they spent $10,000 and made $20,000, guess what? They lost less money than the other company, okay? Let's say you make 50% net profit, which who's making 50% net profit, okay? Let's go down and take a look. Guess what? You doubled your money on ads and you made 27 bucks. Why? Why is that? Because remember, 50% net of the $20,000 that you made is $10,000. But remember, your ad spend is $10,000. So you made nothing. This is why it's so important to know your numbers, because you could be bleeding money all the while thinking that you're making money. In all honesty, you don't make any money on ads unless you're at least 5 timesing the money. That's just the way math works. I'll show you an example, okay? Let's say you spent $10,000 and you generated $100,000 off of those Facebook ads, and your net profit is 25%. Even though you 10 timesed the money, because your net profit is 25%, you made $14,000. Okay, not bad, right? So it really all depends on your net profit on the jobs. That's why pricing is so important, which is why I created this document. Okay, now if you want to know how to create your prices, you don't necessarily need this document. You can create this on your own. Just go to my channel, find the video that says how to create your own flat rate price book, and I walk you through it step by step. You can make your own. If you want it easy, then you can use this document. It's there in the description. Okay, your pricing is very, very important, because if you don't have the proper pricing, you're going to struggle with your marketing. Okay, now if you notice, I know my net profits, which is why I'm able to check my marketing and see how much I make. I don't just make it up. Okay, you see on example, I have 25% on here, which is calculating. That's why I always do my job costing. Here's an example. Here's an example job that was done for $15,000. after all the materials, if there's a subcontractor, the labor, the salesman's percentage. I'll know by doing my job costing. In this example, this is an 11% job. Not too good, right? It's just an example. But you at least know, okay? Let's say you do all your job costing and you find out your jobs are actually 11% net. What is that doing to your marketing? All right, let's take a look. Let's go all the way down to the total for the year. Let's use Facebook ads as an example. Okay, at 11% net, if your prices are really, really low, you can 10x your marketing and still barely make anything. In this example, a spend annually of $10,000 generates $100,000 and you'll make $800 because you're only making 10%, right? It's tricky, but this is how math helps you diagnose your business. Who said we would never use math, right? That's a lie. We always said, we're going to school, we're doing math, we're never going to use it. If you don't use it, you're going to lose your shirt. Okay, so if you're doing job costing and you find that your net is really low, now you have to diagnose why. It's probably because your prices are too low. Let's see what happens if we raise our prices. Let's do this job, let's say 18,000. Okay, let's see what that does to the net. Puts us at 18%, not too good. Let's go to 20,000, a little bit better. All right, 22,000. Now we're getting a little better. That would make our net 24%. What does that do to my marketing? It's making everything else more profitable, okay? But the long story short of this video is not necessarily pricing, but it's always at the core of any ROI or return on ad spend. But the point of this is never look at the money you make from ads and say, I spent 50,000, I made 80,000, I made some money. Because you have to take the ad spend out of that and you have to take all of your overhead and labor out of that, which leaves you with a lot less than you think. That's why I created this document, because I want a number that I can look at that makes me jump out of my seat and say, oh my gosh, I need to fix my marketing. I don't want to see I spent 15,000, I made 19,000. I want to see I spent 15,000 and I lost 10,000. That gets me up in the morning. That's like drinking a cup of coffee. That's like doing an ice bath, right? This kinds of things wakes you up. And the only way to wake up and to really know how to diagnose your business is to know the numbers. If you need to talk to me at any time, if you need help diagnosing your business or you have any question, go to the description. There's a link there where you can get on my calendar. I'd love to talk to you. If you want to take a look at this pricing tool that I'm using, if you want to make it easy, you don't want to create it yourself, you can use what I created. That is also in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Reach out to me, guys. I'm here for you. Have a good day.